I missed you out at the pool on Saturday. I remember you usually go to those.
I know.
As soon as our chair gets here, we'll start momentarily.
Gotta be with the little one.
Oh, that's right. I usually have a.
We'll start momentarily. We're waiting for our chair to arrive.
I remember A and D.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Stop there.
I have a question. Are we in the Coachella Valley experiencing any kind of ice issues? Or is it pretty much over the hill in LA? I don't mean demonstrations. I mean in terms of people getting harassed or arrested or detained and stuff like that. Is any of that going on in our world?
Yes, it is.
Sure is.
It is?
Yep.
Yeah, there's actually been some protesting.
But raids is what he was asking about.
Already.
Yeah, but I'm worried about if people are getting in, people getting intercepted and stuff.
Yeah, there has been some, from detainments, yes.
We said one
We've had ICE agents kind of scouting out food distribution lines.
Really?
Some of our agencies have been reporting in that they've had ICE agents that would sit across during the time of their distribution and just, I don't know if they're watching, intimidating, combination of both. We've asked them what the behavior has been, because it's not their property that's across the street. We can't ask them to leave.
Debbie can, Arthur, can you hear Debbie? She's with Fine Food Bank. And
I could not hear that, no.
because we haven't started the meeting, this is okay to share, right, Chris? Because it's just,
Yeah.
conversation. So
Yeah.
Debbie, can you share what you're?
Yeah, we've had some agencies, some of our food distribution partner agencies report in that they've had ICE agents that have sat across the street during the time of their food distributions.
Uh-huh.
Possibly intimidating. We see upticks and then it goes quiet and then they see upticks again. One of our agencies reported that they actually entered the facility and detained some people, but that's just been one out of many. But we have had instances.
Thank you. Sorry to hear that, but okay, thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
So the stuff we do is just
Reading them.
I showed up to one of the demonstrations on Saturday with my Big Desert Healthcare District shirt.
I saw that.
I'll show up and not be sure.
I zoomed in this connection.
Yeah. I couldn't decide which shirt to wear, the one that Donna gave me or the other one, and I thought, okay, I'll wear this. I'm sure I'll have another opportunity. It was very much needed. It was a warm day
Where were you at?
at Bagduna Park
Oh,
swimming program.
I saw that. Well, I wasn't clear. It was on the Facebook post. Who did the monies, the monies distributed to? It was from Kaiser to who?
To DRD.
Okay, to the district.
Swimming
Okay.
programs.
Okay. Yeah, that was nice. That was very nice. For the adaptive swimming. I don't think it was was it adaptive swimming?
Well, it's swimming safety.
Yeah, it's just the same.
We used to do a very six.
Yeah, I know.
That's
They
what I
used to
was-
be the subcontractor, right? BRD. Yeah.
That was a fun program. For the kids.
Do you still have all
Oh,
those
the
bathing
water
suits?
looks so welcoming.
You gotta bring them down to the.
Actually, I'll connect with Maureen
Yeah.
in Bard.
So where they disintegrate
Because
absorbs the towers.
Yeah, we have a.
You have towels and stuff still?
Not those. We donated those to the rescue mission. Yeah. We have a lot of towels. Yeah, but there's still some stuff up there.
Yeah.
I need to go up there.
There's t-shirts too, aren't there?
There's a few, I mean, yeah, and some stuff that Vanessa used to use for Neon, like some equipment and things like that, yeah.
I wear my ready sets when t-shirts are bright yellow when I'm walking the dog in the morning. It's like, okay. That's me.
That's what, Peter wanted another one, remember?
Yeah.
Cause he uses it for the same reason too.
Yeah.
When he goes out and walks, he said
Yeah.
it's bright as heck.
Yeah.
I wear mine.
Yeah. So, those are good times.
Gets lots of attention.
Yeah. Makes sense. We'll revisit them. You jump in the pool?
I got threatened that, they wanted to throw me in the pool, but no, I
Sissy.
yeah, I resisted,
Normally they do like everybody holds hand and they jump in there.
So friends of mine were saying they had relatives coming in from Holland, and the one gentleman was rather large, and he loves doing cannonballs. So Tom was saying, he's like, how many times I was filling up the pool?
It's funny when I hear people, like earlier, at a restaurant for lunch, there were people that obviously had accents, and I thought, why would you come over here right now at this time of year? But I guess they get
Well,
better
Europeans
discounts.
love it when they love the heat. It's always cold there in the summer, cold and rainy.
Yeah, but then there's always one or two that has to get rescued from.
Yeah, right, yeah.
They misjudged it.
Mm.
I guess they're charging now for rescues.
They should, a lot of manpower.
So Arthur, we're just still waiting on, our chair to arrive. Hopefully he'll be here shortly, and Clinton. So-
Okay, not a problem. I'm not going anywhere.
We done by, so thank you for waiting. Those fellas can't wait, do they? No, that's the last one. All right.
You need a just, let me give you the agenda in case you need it.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. All right, let's call to order, huh? The Desert Healthcare District Finance, Legal Administrative Real Estate Committee meeting, June 10th, 3 p.m. A little bit later than that, actually. Thank you for waiting. We're gonna start with the, I guess we'll start with the district first, so, anyone have a motion to call to order? Good. Approval of the agenda, right?
So moved.
Well, can I second that?
Yes, you may.
I'll second that.
Arthur, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Great, and then, on to the
All
the
in
meeting
favor?
minutes. Sorry, all in favor for the agenda?
Aye.
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 Okay, on to meeting minutes. Any questions on the meeting minutes, from last month?
None, so moved to approve as is.
And I'll second that. All in favor?
I,
Now the time for public comments. At this time, comments from the audience may be made on items not listed on the agenda that are of public interest and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the district. The committee has a policy of limiting speakers to not more than 3 minutes. The committee cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda. Public input may be offered on an agenda item when it comes up for discussion and or action.
There are no public comments.
Great, seeing none, we'll move on to the next section. Chief Executive Officer report, Chris.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the March 31st quarter end district and the facilities, I'm sorry, the that's my train of thought. Yeah, the RPP, the Retirement Protection Plan investment accounts. Normally we have our investment banker representative Keith Stribling available for us. Unfortunately, he was unable to be present with us today. So what we'd like to do is have these presented as informational, which is typically what they are anyway. And then perhaps we can have Keith give a presentation or at least a written report for the board meeting part.
I'm okay with that. I was just wondering, is there anything in there that was of concern to you?
No, it's actually, I mean, it kind of goes along with what we're experiencing with our stock market, although they're bonds and that with the district and that, but it's no urgent emergency kind of issues there. So
Thank you.
next item on the agenda is consideration for approval to consultant, well, services agreements. As we had spoke last month in our finance committee meeting, the opportunity that we have to change from our employees' retirement plans. There's the employee contribution plan, which is the 457B, and then the 401A, which is, we need to change that. I didn't catch it, Andrea. It says 401K on the agenda. So the 401A is for the district's match for the employee contribution. And so as we discussed last month, there's a need for us to consider changing from Principal to another organization because we need to have a third-party administrator that does the plan documents work, which Principal does no longer do. And so we are now bringing back to the committee the actual agreements to allow Ascensus LLC to take over the asset management and the reporting. And then EGBS, which is Economic Group Pension Services, will be the third-party administrator, which will be responsible for all the other services, including the plan documents. So they work, those two organizations work hand in hand together. They have a great working relationship, so they know the ins and outs of who's doing what. So we will, assuming we have approval from the committee and the board, we will start implementing that process. My understanding, it's about a 60-day process, and we will have more detailed information for the staff and how the funds will actually transfer. And we do have Clinton Brown, who is our support person that helps us manage our funds with the organization. He's kind of our go-between and helps us not only as a healthcare district, but also works with us as staff as we do our investment planning, etc. So if you have any questions for Clinton, Clinton's available. Would just like to introduce Clinton Brown so that everybody can see his face and know that we actually do deal with a real live person.
Are all those diplomas in the back real?
Yeah, they are. I'm a little addicted to learning. I enjoy getting designations within my industry, but it's just something I do for my continuing education. So I enjoy doing that.
You need to show them your baseball collection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do have a love for baseball. I played in college a little bit, so it's been kind of a passion of mine. But Chris, the summary you put out in this is fantastic. I think it's a good summary of the experience I've had working with you through this analysis. And I think the most important point is what Chris is showing now is it's going to be a fee savings across the board for Desert Healthcare, but also for the employees as well.
Man. So that is a positive, that's gonna be a cost savings and that you're comfortable with this partnership of taking over. I'm just wondering, is Principal going to have any trouble letting go of the account? Are there gonna be any penalties or anything?
I don't think there will be, but Clinton, if you.
No.
Please.
Yeah, great question. No, Principal does not kick you on the way out like a lot of other companies might do. And as you can see in the orange right in the middle there, if we're looking at the 457B, at the very bottom is kind of the summary. You have the employer cost of Principal of north of 12,000, the employee cost 21, and then if you go to the right to the green, which represents the census, you can see the fee difference that's there. So yeah, I think
Yeah, the bottom.
overall it'll be a
Total of both plans.
oh yeah, the bottom left is the total of both. Yeah, perfect.
And the customer service, the employees having access to data, it's equal to or better in terms of reporting?
Yeah, great question. Principal is a very good 401k company. That's why we were with them for so long. If they hadn't dropped this service of handling the plan documents and everything, my guess is we would still be there because they've been a pleasure to work with and they provide great experiences for the employees. A census, although it is not a well-known name, they went for years with the name Vanguard and just recently decided they were going to drop the name Vanguard and keep their core name of a census. And believe it or not, they're one of the largest retirement plan providers in the world. And so their experience, the experience of the employees and the employer should be equal to or greater than Principal because on paper they're even larger or a leader in the retirement plan industry, even beyond what Principal's considered. So I think it should be a good experience for the employees.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is that it? Anything else?
If there's public comment.
Yeah.
probably not.
But you're done with your part, you're good.
Yeah. no,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So it's an action item. So are there any,
None.
okay,
I'll move approval.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any public comment?
None, thank you for asking.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Thank you, Clinton. Appreciate you
Clinton.
taking.
All right. Thank you. Good to meet you all. I'll be traveling out there soon as we go through this process. So
You could catch
thank
a
you.
game. You can catch a Dodger game. Go Dodgers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm going to the Angels game tomorrow. See how that goes. That'll be fun.
All right.
All right. Have a good one.
So we'll
Thanks.
we'll submit these plans to the board on the 24th. I don't think you'll need to be present for that. I think it's sufficient here. Unless you committee feel it necessary. So we'll wait for that approval at the board meeting and then we can proceed forward.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Clinton.
You all have a great afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.
On to other matters. Las Palmas Medical Plaza, 3-year lease.
Yes. What we have here is an addendum for one of our current tenants. Their first lease is coming to an end. And they did have a couple 2-year option terms, but they asked if they could go a little bit longer.
Sure.
And if there'd be any benefit, which typically we do provide at the 3-year mark, we'll start to provide some tenant improvement allowance. And so work with them on that. And so they would like to execute a 3-year, and then that would include a $10 square foot tenant improvement allowance. Also is another thing that just helps encourage tenants to stay longer. So this, the draft addendum is attached for your review. Able to answer any questions, but our recommendation is approval.
How many square feet is this?
This one is 640. It's one of our smaller suites. Actually, it is the smallest suite size. There's a, I think this is actually the last one at that 640 mark. The next one is about 880.
What's his specialty? Just curious.
I'm drawing a blank right now on. I thought it was general, but I will have to look that up. I think, but reminded.
I just want because it's sweet so small.
No
you know.
comments, not even comments.
Any questions, comments? I'll move approval.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any public?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
where are the other ayes? I'm the only aye?
We said
You're just echoing. You're not hearing us.
You're the third.
You're the, all right, any public comment?
No public.
Okay, great. Next section, MOU, the district.
Okay, so this is annually we've been doing since we've been utilizing the foundation a little bit more for some projects and programs. So one of the bigger ones is the mobile medical clinics, which Alejandro and his team is advancing and growing. And we've also been doing quite a bit of work related to the COVID vaccinations, et cetera, some of the external grants, which some of those have support and reimbursement for expenses. However, we're no longer doing those right now, but the overhead, we don't have monies coming in to the foundation to help support the work that the foundation does. And so what we've done the last 2 or 3 years is granted funds from the district to the foundation through a an MOU agreement that transfers the monies to the foundation for operational support. And so we're asking for approval of that MOU to transfer those funds.
So.
Yeah, I was either gonna go or I look to you first. on any comments.
And just an additional to that, I anticipate through our strategic planning process that we will be expanding the mobile medical clinics, and there may be other areas that we would be looking at as well. So that's all up to the board as we proceed.
That's what I was wondering, if 750,000 was gonna be enough, but it'll be enough possibly for the fiscal year until we implement the new strategic plan, which will probably be after then.
I believe so, yes.
My only question was around just, I think you and I talked about it briefly. We kind of got some history on it, the maintenance of the foundation is of importance if and when we were to go out and receive future grant dollars for future work, which I think, Alejandro, for you, that's important because the work you're doing is probably the best utilization of capital to deliver care. I think we're happy to fund it as we continue to grow, but we should look to bring in other resources there. And then I think there'll be a comment on the foundation part that I have regarding, what should run through the foundation and what should run through the district in terms of funding projects and how do we want to do it. I think we use the same due diligence on that, but I don't know if that makes sense to you, Letty, but I want to make sure that the appearance of moving money from one public entity to a nonprofit foundation is very, it's easy to see and it's very transparent on why we do that. And one of those reasons is we have a goal to maintain the foundation to allow us to receive grants, which I discussed. The other part is there's some funds that I think were appropriated when the district was expanded. Is that correct? And some of those funds that we'll bring up in the foundation are being utilized for something different than just operations of the foundation.
Exactly.
So I think we need to make sure that's very clear and that all the board members understand those nuances about how the money is being moved and why we're doing certain things. You know, we have an appropriations, I think, from 22 that looks at appropriating some of that money for, I think, grants out of the foundation.
Yeah, so that's the main difference is the monies that was carried forward. If we go back to the expansion, if you recall, well, you weren't on the board at that moment in time, but I think you're probably privy of when. So the expansion required that there be a funding source. And so
Yep.
the funding source was a $300,000 commitment from non-taxpayer dollars to help fund grant activities in the expanded area. So we were budgeting about 300,000 a year. We weren't actually awarding all of it each year, but the board had approved carrying over that amount, which ended up totaling about 1.5 million. And then our legal counsel at that point was able to determine that there didn't need to be a segregation of the property taxes, you know, west of Cook Street versus east of Cook Street. So we were able to continue our grant funding from the district, district-wide, instead of having to have that boundary. So what we did then was earmark those carryover monies as essentially unidentified grant dollars. So then at later dates, like when we're considering the item on the foundation as being reallocation of those funds to the Find Food Bank.
Yep.
Opportunities. So that's just kind of some high level there. And then once we get to the foundation, we can discuss that more.
Yeah, so if you want to see the kind of the appropriations resolution about how it designated I think it was $1.5 million of funds for a specific grant funding process through the foundation, so.
Yeah, but
Well,
they were
meant-
unidentified yet. But
Right, yeah, but it wasn't meant to be used for operational purposes, which was my question. You know, why move 750 over if we have 500 there now? Because there's $500,000 now that's left over. Well, the answer, at least the answer we're going on here is that money was appropriated in 22 for unidentified grants. It was not being appropriated for operation of a foundation.
Correct.
So, just so that's clear, I think providing that document you sent me, maybe in the packet, either for the foundation or district, that way I just want to make sure the board members are aware. I think most of them were probably here, but.
Yeah, we can put it in the board packet. We didn't include it in.
Yeah, I have it here, I have it pulled up, but, okay. Any other comments on that from the board members?
I do have one.
Sure.
Chris, does the foundation, and it's probably a question for the other one, but might as well ask it now. Does the foundation have the same strategic plan as the district?
They operate together. Yeah, there's not a separate strategic plan, so.
I was just wondering, if there was like some flexibility that maybe we could consider that when we have our strategic planning session.
Sure.
Is that whether we want to have a little bit more flexibility on the foundation part?
I think there's a goal around the foundation of not just being funded by the healthcare district, but actually operating independent as a nonprofit.
Yeah, and that's what it served as over time. We have had initiatives that we've done originally or several years ago. There was they were intended to be collaborative efforts. So matching funds with the city of Palm Springs, we have a mayor's race campaign.
Yeah, we can do those things.
So that's why in the foundation, that's why we provided some grant funding support to the foundation, because then we can do those matching kind of funds initiatives. And I anticipate we would want to do more as we're expanding with our strategic plan.
Well, I just remember the last time we did the strategic plan, as we were getting ready to say, okay, this is it. These are our strategies, high, medium, and, or maybe we agreed on just the two. But as we were getting ready to say, okay, we're all in agreement, right, people? And then I remember just feeling a little bit sense of like, okay, what if we have something unexpected happen? And that's why we added that one as a just in case something happens kind of thing. So I was just wondering, maybe that's where the foundation, would be more appropriate. But it's just something we can talk about more at the strategic plan and see what, if that would be better, serving for it to have a role that, because sometimes like, Director Longston says that what is the function of it? So if we actually make it more functional, then maybe that's.
Yeah, and I think that's, I would like to think that the foundation could expand with regard to, seeking external funding, matching funding for specific initiatives, because I think, my understanding, like if we're to, try to work with larger grant funders, we need to have specific initiatives in order to, apply for those kinds of funds, and we can do those kind of things into the foundation where we're limited under the district.
Thank you.
Good. Well, I'll make a motion to,
Oh, I'm sorry, it was an action item.
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve, the NFA.
I'll second.
You, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
yeah.
Any public comment?
None.
Seeing none, moving on to the next committee member comments. Any additional comments from the committee members? Okay, seeing none, move on to adjournment and straight over to the foundation.
Oh, hey.
It's light today.